Pikmin. It's a video game. Pikmin has been a part of my life for quite a while, actually. It's one of the significant childhood memories that I have, along with Sonic, Pokemon, dinosaurs, all the cool stuff. I remember the first time I ever saw Pikmin. It was a brisk cold morning on the campground. I was over at my neighbor's and I just saw him playing a weird game called Pikmin. I watched him for hours.
It was just memorizing to me.
He turned to me and you know what he said? Get the fuck out of my room! From that day forward, I've always wanted to get my hands on it. I dragged my father along to the nearest Walmart and he sees the package and you know what he tells me?
Yeah, one of those other baby games. God damn it. Well, time for disownment.
And when I finally played it, man, was it so much fun. Now, how did Pikmin exactly begin? Well, it's a tale as old as time itself. And more like, my note says insert time, so, I guess I just kind of forgot that. Oh boy! Who was it created by? Well, Shigeru Miyamoto, the granddaddy of Nintendo game characters, the man who people think that he's the actual president of Nintendo, but not actually this guy. This guy is responsible for making Pikmin. One of his more weirder ideas, I suppose. One day, he was out in his garden, only to look at the ground and see ants. And he was like, Japanese text. Thus, Adam and Eve came into fruition, where you would raise a population on Earth and do stuff. Because that's what you do. You do stuff. It eventually got shut down because they didn't think it would do too well. Because, how good would a game called Adam and Eve actually do? Good job. But then, the GameCube was coming out, and Miyamoto wanted to express the power of the GameCube in all of its cubular powerness. You get it? It's like the Drake and Josh episode when they did the spherical joke, making fun of the GameCube, but now making a reference of them making fun of the GameCube because it's all one is all fun. They wanted to express the power of the GameCube by having 100 AIs out on the field at once. Space World 2000s, the famous Mario 128, known for having 128 Marios. It was a test to show off to the public. Holding a bunch of boxes, running around like a child on a sugar rush, all the things. Now, nothing Mario-related ever came out of Mario 128, but Pikmin did. And 1 year later, we got Pikmin. I just have some shitty fucking joke. Selling 1 million copies. With this success, it spawned a sequel, Pikmin 2.
Eventually, those two games got ported over to the Wii.
With remote control action. And this specifically is the game I grew up with. I eventually lost my Wii, but I have a Wii U. Just a better version of the Wii that sold like utter shit. So now, of course, I'll be playing on the Wii U since, I have one. And I'm not calling Satan to bring back my Wii, because, different from the Wii U. It'll be the Wii one. Wii! Thankfully, the Wii U has an option where you can go to the original Wii menu to play your Wii games. Just turn on the Wii U and, god damn it. Look, you're a dead system. Stop asking me to put in my online information. Oh, shit. I think I pissed off the Wii U. But yes, this is Pikmin in all of its title screen glory. Can't do much. There's an option menu. That's neat. But the real meat and potatoes is when you click the play button. Oh, revolutionary. Deep cut reference because the Wii is actually called the Revolutionary. Pick a slut, watch Olimar get hit by a rock, and bada bing, bada boom, you're stranded on a planet, and will probably die. But wait, you discover UFO.
Onion.
And Sprout's a little friend, a plant creature.
Pikmin.
Together, your bond will break all bonds and stamp at the heart of bureaucracy. For about 30 seconds, so you make another one. And another one, 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 and another one. The cycle just goes on. I don't really want to continue making this joke. And buddy, have I told you about Slough? In debt you. Capitalism? With the use of capitalism, your goal is to grow as many Pikmin as possible. Collecting ship parts that belong to Olimar's ship, return it to said ship so you can hopefully get off this planet in 30 days before Olimar's life support runs out so he doesn't have to breathe the deadly toxic air filled with oxygen. That's basically it for the story. Simple, yet with a dark aftertaste. My compliments to this chef. Mwah. The game does have a form of a time limit, and in order to access new areas, you'll need to collect a certain amount of parts. Now, not every part is required to beat the game, but a vast majority of them are. So what happens if you don't snag all the important parts in 30 days? So how do you grab the missing parts? Well, with the help of Pikmin, of course. They come in 3 varieties, red, blue, and yellow, the flag of Armenia. Thanks to the Pikmin, there's multiple different ways that you can both attack enemies and attach onto objects. You can either swarm the objects with a pack of your Pikmin or just simply chuck them! And if you happen to throw them too far, you have your trusty whistle to call them back. Though sometimes it can be a bit finicky, because, I'm clearly calling them and they're not coming back! But regardless, this is why I recommend the Wii version compared to the original GameCube.
The Wii version used sensible technology
to be able to do this. Whee! So fucking stupid jokes. The GameCube was a set distance,
while the Wii Remote allows you to move the cursor around seamlessly.
able to throw both farther and able to throw them in multiple different directions. At least with better ease. I'm sure you could do that with the original GameCube version. But back to the Pikmin. They don't just come in different colors, but as well as abilities. Red Pikmin resist fire, as well as deal more damage to enemies. Yellow Pikmin get thrown higher, as well as carry bombs. And blue Pikmin, they breathe water. And that's amazing! Because other Pikmin aren't really that good at water. They drown, because your Pikmin can die. They can get burned, eaten by the various amount of enemies, literally being left behind after time runs out to fend for itself.
Not the beast! Ah!
Yeah, it's a hard knock life for the Pikmin. However, this is a bit mitigated by the fact that you're able to have 100 Pikmin out on the field. So you can have your own death army following you around. It's a blessing. Now, how do you get your own death army? This is so fucking stupid. Now, how do you get your own death army? Well, it's quite simple. Murdering plants and or animals, drag it to the onion, and there you go. More Pikmin! Of course, certain enemies offer more Pikmin compared to others. Colored pellets, for example, will yield more Pikmin if you give the right color pellet to the right colored onion. You'll still get Pikmin, say, if you put a yellow pellet into a red one, but you get less out of it. Enemies, on the other hand, are a set amount no matter which onion you put them in. Obviously, bigger enemies are going to yield more Pikmin than smaller enemies.
I would recommend having 100 Pikmin out at all times.
If you have 100 Pikmin out on the field, it doesn't sprout any more Pikmin. No, they aren't gone forever, they just stay inside the onion. And because they stay inside the onion, that means you don't have to keep mashing the button to dig multiple Pikmin out. Seriously, that's one thing that slows the pace of this game. I don't have time to continue digging up Pikmin when the time limit is running down. Come on, I got stuff to do! And yes, I know if you leave a Pikmin in the ground long enough, it eventually turns into a flower, which is basically just a faster Pikmin, and well worth getting. But who does that? That takes like half a day. You can go and do that with nectar and watch some fat fuck eat all the nectar instead of sharing. Fucking asshole. But yeah, in order to get more flower Pikmin quickly, you can just pull them together in one giant nectar puddle. Because, you know, they like it so much, you're like, oh, look at me, I'm a flower. This isn't in the fucking script, so, you know, my improv's fucking shit. Anyways, the game encourages you to multitask, since the day is enter time. Oh, for fuck's sakes. So there's obviously a limited amount of time that you can do it one day. Splitting up your fleet is key to get the most out of your day. Instead of taking all your Pikmin and only getting one part, why not leave some Pikmin to work on a wall, while you're also getting some Pikmin to go grab a part that's over there, while you're also clearing out a path of enemies so they don't bother you on the next days. Now, granted, I have the advantage of multiple playthroughs. So for anyone who's playing this blind and don't have access to insight, new players might be waiting around trying to figure out what to do. The game does have a map to swing you in the right direction, but it doesn't provide that much useful information. The map will also show any parts that belong to the ship indicated by these stars. Now, when you're collecting the parts, a little information blur pops up, basically Olimar explaining what the thing does, unless he doesn't know. What the fuck, Olimar? It's just flavor text, it doesn't really impact anything. What does impact them is the Pikmin themselves. You'll need to carry a certain amount of Pikmin to carry stuff back to the ship. If you're just one less, well, you're not doing anything. So best not to lose any Pikmin, you know, if you only have like a limited amount. Now, if you have too many Pikmin, that's another story. Man, there's a fire over here, and then there's water. Look, I don't even know how you got here, but I really don't feel like dragging you back. Look, you know, I mean, look, he wasn't, look, I believe in evolution, okay? The weak shall die and the strong survives. That's how it works. Look, they're soldiers, and good soldiers follow orders. Look, if a Pikmin's on bomb duty, then I expect him to finish the task that I gave him at any means necessary. Look, my needs outweigh their needs. If they have a problem, all I can say is, well, fuck, at least they're not reds. I give most of my food to the red Pikmin, not because I like them or anything, but because they are the basic grunts. If one dies, I have 5 more soldiers to replace them. Look, it is extremely hard to lose all your Pikmin. Sometimes the mission just goes so poorly that I lose about 20 to 40 of them. But they should have thought about being better at their jobs. Besides, I have like 100 more back in the onion. I don't feel an ounce of guilt. If they die or drown because I'm in a hurry, they should have learned how to swim. Not my problem. Look at this graph. It shows up every single day. And look at the data. I lost a bunch of red Pikmin, but then I raised them up again like nothing happened. In the same day. Everything is fine. Oh God, is that a spider? Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it! Oh. Yeah. Alright, there's bosses in this game, but they're not exactly the best in the world. They don't have a set pattern for the most part, and they're kind of just bigger enemies, and swarming them does wonders. There's Noodlebird, Beetle, Mushroom, Bigger Bulborb, and Jupiter with legs. The only reason why you would kill these guys is simply because they have a part that you need. Not rocket science. Wait, would it be technically rocket science if we're working on a rocket? Now, I really do enjoy the gameplay of this game. There's something simple about it, but it also has a layer of complexity at the same time. I like building up huge fleets of Pikmin, and then trying to get as many stuff as possible. Even if the AI is very fucking stupid. You don't need that bridge, just jump in the water, you're blue Pikmin for fuck's sakes! What the hell are you doing, Red? That's it, punishment time! Look, don't judge me. Genocide just feels good, you know? But Pikmin is a game that I always go back to play for about 3 to 5 hours. It's not a long game by any means, especially if you know what you're doing. Like me, I'm kind of a pro, don't you know? Look, I completed my recording in 14 days, not 30. That's 2 weeks, son! This is one of the few games that I've ever played that I can literally just pick up and play and not get bored in the slightest. I'm so laser focused on trying to get things done as efficiently as possible that I honestly just lose track of time to begin with. It literally gives me tunnel vision, and I don't think I should be saying that that's a good thing, but in a way it's kind of a good thing. Now, this game is nowhere perfect. Sometimes swarming just doesn't work like it should be doing. Like, look at all these Pikmin under this Bulborb. This thing should be dead. Yep, just keep eating them up, you fat fuck. And if we're being completely honest here,
Random long legs falling from the ceiling?
kind of a dick move, not going to lie. A new player is not going to know that that's going to be there, and will lose quite a few Pikmin in the process. And the game can be really easy if you just swarm everything with your Pikmin. Yeah, I know I complain about it not working correctly, but when it does work correctly, it's relatively easy. But I'm fine with that. For the most things, I don't like the fucking spider. Technically, there is a challenge mode, but all that offers is essentially a time attack mode, where you're expected to grow as many Pikmin as possible. It's neat and unconventional for a challenge mode, I suppose. Level design is fantastic though. Nice, small, nothing unfair for the most part. The graphics might be a bit dated, sure, but I still think they hold up incredibly well for me personally.
This game is a personal joy for me to come back to and play from time to time, and just relax and have like a quick fun game of something.
And I always look forward to replaying it when I get the chance. Pikmin 1 is just fantastic for it being so simple, and the music itself is so amazing and calming and catchy, and I just love the Force of Hope. It's my favorite song in this game. I even use it at the end of my videos sometimes. Like the little end screen thing, made by my friend, who's an amazing artist, and you should totally go to her Instagram, because she makes good art, because look at this art!
The enemies are really neat looking. They're pretty original despite the fact that there's literally 4 different varieties of Bulborbs, and oh boy, wait till we get to the second game. There are just so many Bulborbs! If you have a huge army of Pikmin, they aren't much of a threat, because you can just curb stomp everything in your way. Like, oh my god, they just do not stand any chance. And they're super simple, but I love the Pikmin designs. Clear, different colors so you don't confuse one another. They have little bits of ears and noses. And, the game itself has a fair amount of challenge in its own predetermined difficulty. What do I mean by that? Well, if you decide to take the entire 30 days, take your time, do it slow and easy, you have a pretty smooth ride. However, if you're trying to speed run it, trying to get 2 to 4 parts per day, that serves as its own challenge. It's very arcade-like. There's even a score at the end of the game showing how well you did. Look at my score. I was much nicer here than my other playthroughs, apparently. I'm not the bad guy. And to show their gratitude, a bunch of different Pikmin onions are following me out of space. Look at that one! That one's orange! I fucking love orange! Yeah, they may be, aggressively chasing me out with their pitchforks, but orange is the best goddamn color. And if you disagree with me, you're not invited. There are many different reasons as to why I think Pikmin 1 is amazing. And it did a sequel, as I said previously, it did so well it made a sequel. But, I don't think we need to talk about that game yet. I don't think I expressed how much I love Pikmin 1 to death. Like, in fact, instead of going straight to Pikmin 2, I think we're just going to continue talking about Pikmin 1 because Pikmin 1 is just the best Pikmin game of all time. Did you know there's a species roll call? Yeah. At the end of the credits, they show you like little creatures with their names. It's pretty cool. Let's watch it. Let's just do that instead. What? What do you mean? Okay, this is fine. Oh, no, it's not. I have to look at Pikmin 2 now.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man.
Look, it's not like I hate Pikmin 2. I just strongly dislike it. You see, that's the Catholic way of saying you hate something. Ah, fuck! I shouldn't have said that. Ho, ho, ho. Holy crap! Is that Santa? That's right, freak of nature, dinosaur man. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, wow, Santa. I'm a huge fan. Ah! Oh, God! That's what you get for hitting Pikmin 2. Ho, ho, ho. Ah! Why would he do that? Why would Santa do this? Look, people can have opinions. All right. I just have some gripes with the second Pikmin game. It can be fun and has a lot of quality of life upgrades. I won't even try to deny that. But the main key reason why I don't exactly like this game, there's quite a bit of key reasons, actually. But yes, Pikmin 2. It's a Pikmin game. It has a crab on the box art. And it has the same style title screen from the last game. Except, Pikmin can get eaten in this version. Nice. So what's the newfangled story? Well, it's pretty simple. After coming home from a possibly traumatic trip for Olimar, he's informed by his boss that the company that Olimar works for, the haaaa Freight, is going under due to crippling debt the president racked up while Olimar was away. Thanks to Louis, the new employee, getting attacked by ravenous space bunnies and losing an entire supply of golden pick carrots. You lying sack of shit! The president then sells our ship with our life savings that we got from the last game still in it, by the way, only to discover that the gift Olimar brought back for his son is worth 100 Pokos, and that there's a ton of treasure still back on the planet. And despite Olimar literally just getting back home, he hasn't even seen his family yet, gotten, therapy for the, traumatic trip, movie deals. The president orders Olimar with Louis to the planet once more. New adventures, new Pikmin, new product placements. Yeah, there's like a bunch of treasure, and it's got a lot of product placement deals, but we'll get into that later. And after collecting enough treasure to return home, we both leave the planet so that we can finally, God damn it, Louis! So we left Louis behind. That's great. Does that mean I can go back and see my family now? Nope. And we head back to the planet to save Louis and collect the remaining treasure there. And that's basically it for the story. Still simple. The president runs from loan sharks, has to sleep with animals. Louis tries to kill us by somehow controlling an elemental weaver thing. I don't know. All the normal things. At least the cutscenes look nice, though. But, we all know that cutscenes don't make a game. Unless you're Heavy Rain, because that's kind of like the whole fucking point of your game.
Oh, great. There must be 10,000 people live in that sort of area. You gonna question them one by one?
So what makes this game different from Pikmin 1? Well, there's a 2 in the title. Ha! Got him! There's quite a few different quality of life upgrades. The whistle is much more responsive. You can call Pikmin as soon as they leave the onion and put something into the onion. Pikmin pop out of the ground faster. You can throw faster. I think, anyways. I haven't really tested it out. It just seems like it's faster. And the 30-day limit is gone. All the great additions, I would say. All undoubtedly just fantastic additions. And what I think is probably one of the better additions, able to use 2 captains instead of being stuck with the 1 Olimar. However, it's not exactly the best in the world. You only control 1 at a time, and while you're not controlling the other one, they just kind of stands there, not doing anything, twiddling their thumbs, all the fun things. There's a few puzzles, sure, you can do, and they can certainly act as extra insurance if one of the captains just freaking dies. That's always fun. But I haven't even gotten to probably the best part. There are 2 new varieties of Pikmin, purple Pikmin and white Pikmin. So along with those guys, you finally have red, white, and blue, and represent the best nation in the world. Liberia. honestly really like these two new varieties. Purple Pikmin are much slower than the rest of the Pikmin, but they make up for the fact that they can stun enemies when you throw on top of them, as well as do extra damage. And this ability can be pretty overpowered. You get like 5 of them on top of an enemy, and they might not kill it, but sure as hell it will stay there for a long time. Won't even move. Oh, that poor enemy. They can also carry more stuff compared to other Pikmin. Anything that is below 11, they can carry all by themselves. So say you're just multitasking. Just throw one of those guys onto something you wish to carry back, and they will get there eventually. They are really, really slow if they have to carry back something at all, like anything. They're just not good at carrying stuff back. And white Pikmin are able to dig stuff from underground, carry things super fast, poison enemies when eaten, and resist poison. They're all great additions, and I enjoy using all of them. However, they don't have onions, and the only way to get more of them is to use candy bop buds. Where do you get them? Well, underground, of course. And like with the new Pikmin, that is probably the second or third major thing added into the game. The cave system, or underground system, or the tomato system, whatever you want to call it, it is that! We're gonna put a pin on the cave system for now. I want to be semi-positive. But since they don't have onions, they'll just rest in the rocket, so you don't have to worry about losing them when the day ends. But yes, as mentioned previously, white Pikmin resist poison, a new hazard in the game. In fact, this game seems to love elemental hazards for sure. Water is much more dangerous now for some enemies that can use it as an attack. You know, I would make a joke, but since 4 of the 5 Pikmin can die from this, I guess I shouldn't be making jokes about them. Maybe that explains why after leaving the planet for maybe about 30 minutes, they're all fucking dead. What the fuck happened? Why is there 5 of you? Yeah, maybe you guys shouldn't have jumped on that fucking bulb, now should ya? But most of these hazards won't kill your Pikmin instantly, unless it's electricity. Just get caught in a single current and yeah, they die. Unless you're yellow, because yellow means electricity, I guess. Can't pick up bomb rocks anymore, but can sure as hell resist electricity. Okay, sure, I guess. And red Pikmin. Oh, red Pikmin. How far have thou fallen? So they resist fire still, that's for sure, all well and good. However, those fire geysers can be broken by any Pikmin. And with purple Pikmin being a thing, there's not really much of a point of having red Pikmin on your team. I mean, Pikmin 1, I made jokes about red Pikmin, only point was to be soldiers, but now they're just kind of fodder. In fact, my whole outlook on Pikmin survival has changed in this game currently. I am super extra careful now compared to my first game. But the reason why I'm extra careful kind of goes back to the cave system. What other stuff can I talk about other than the cave system? I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I know this is a review, but I just... Oh, in this game, there's another new feature. It's called spicy berry juice and bitter berry juice, I guess. Look, my notes aren't the best in the world. They spawn in these plants with 5 berries on them. Sometimes you have to clear out this webbing, whatever the fuck this is, to access them. But once you free the plants from their webby tomb, they grow berries. And once you collect 10 of them, you'll get ultra spicy berry juice and ultra bitter juice. The former powers up your Pikmin, and it also speeds up your Pikmin too, like they just had crack cocaine, murdering everything in their path. And bitter juice turns enemies to stone for a limited time. The berries grow back a few times a day, so it's usually a good idea to leave one of your spare captains next to the berries to collect them while you work on other stuff. Though that's not the only way you're able to get more juice. Sometimes you can find them as little droplets from killing enemies that are frozen, attacking flint beetles, or finding eggs that contain—
Oh god! Oh god! Mini spiders! Oh jeez! Oh! Yeah. They contain spiders.
The eggs contain droplets of juice, which fills up an entire juice meter. Nectar also appears in these eggs. Where you'll mainly be finding them is underground. God damn it. There's no good way to avoid this, is there?
So, the cave system!
The main new shiny gameplay element in Pikmin 2. You're splunking, essentially, digging for treasure, since that's where most of the game's treasure is gonna be, underground. The neat thing about the cave system is that time doesn't move forward in the above-ground world, because I guess when you go under a foot of dirt, time is meaningless. Space-time joke. Haha! That's something I admittedly don't mind. While I like trying to get many things done as quickly as possible in the shortest amount of time, I can see this thing as an improvement for folks who don't like the time limit. I mean, they could have just opened up a can of Got Good, but whatever, not my problem. No, the problem stems from mainly everything else. You might have noticed something while looking at the cave footage compared to the above ground footage. There's a whole lot of enemies in small corners. where you can barely replenish your Pikmin most of the time unless you find the specific candy pop buds. And the big kicker is that the caves are randomized. Now, that's all well and good. I guess it can increase replay value. However, 9 times out of 10, when I go into a cave, it looks like enemies and hazards were thrown together haphazardly. Like, look at this. How am I supposed to get past this? Oh, look, there's an enemy and a poison hazard. But if I throw my poison Pikmin to clear it, then they're just going to get killed. Sure, I can reset the game, and thankfully the game saves every time you go deeper, thus the level gets randomized again. But if I keep restarting just so RNG is in my favor, then to me, I do not think that is good game design.
And the worst, the absolute worst thing is that sometimes shit just falls from the ceiling without me having a chance to even notice it. So I have to stop what I'm doing and run the other way, disrupting the flow of the game for me because I didn't expect a bunch of bombs or a bunch of suicidal bomb spiders or fucking whatever the fuck that is. Oh god, so many enemies just pop from the ceiling, and some of the enemies that come out of nowhere, they don't even eat you. They're just trying to blow you up like fucking dickheads. Why are you being so mean? This stupid bomb enemy can go straight down, always having a tight window to throw the Pikmin at it, and then it just launches its bombs, so when it falls I have to run away unless RNG makes it go farther than normal. Their screams of pain, so fucking cathartic. I don't care how fucked up that sounds. Fuck these assholes, and fuck this room! And this specific fucking room. Okay. I don't have any footage for this, but I specifically remember in my second playthrough of this game, I spawned in this room, and as soon as the screen faded from black, there was a Wollywog right on top of me, and before I could react, it killed a decent chunk of my Pikmin. I was so pissed off! This is what happens when you randomize level, and then randomize the enemies. Cheap shots like that happen. Hell, in this room again, I had to reset like 5 times just so I can walk comfortably over on this small thin path so my blue Pikmin can do their jobs while my other Pikmin sit over there safe and sound. You know, I honestly bet I would like the cave mechanics if the level design wasn't so randomized.
You also have to wait around for treasure to be collected. Previously, you could multitask, but now you just have to wait until the treasure is gone from the floor. And that can be a bit tedious, but thankfully, at the very least, if you were to go to a lower level, all the Pikmin that you have inside the cave, not inside your party, inside the cave, will follow you, so you won't have to risk leaving any behind. Thank fucking God! But there are also quite a bit of different bosses that you'll only be able to find in the cave system, kind of like the last trial when you get to the bottom of the cave system. Again, they're not too special, they don't really offer that many different puzzle mechanics, except this boss, you have to switch between 2 different captains just to attack that weird bulb thing. I'm sure that's not healthy, but hey, that's kind of the only interesting boss in these group of new bosses. The final boss, Bulblax, makes an appearance again. He's much more smaller though, and a lot more compact. However, in another encounter that you have with him, you can kill him with just using a bunch of these bomb rocks at the bottom. Fuck yeah, doing what a president does. Bomb and shit. Then there's,
I'm gonna need to put a sense on that. Who needs sex education when you got Pikmin too?
It really just seems like most of the bosses here are just upgrade bosses from the last game. New variety of Bulborb type bosses, new variety of Noodle Worm bosses, except this one fucking walks.
Oh god, Jupiter Spider's back! Oh god, oh god! Oh, and now there's a purple one with big feet, and that one has a gun!
Now, once you kill a boss, you'll get rewarded with treasure. But most of the treasures from the bosses are actually upgrades for the captains. Want to survive fire and electricity? Well, there's an upgrade for that. Want to go faster than a flowered white Pikmin, causing you to stop and go frequently and it's quite annoying? Well, there's a speed upgrade for that. Want to not have to pluck Pikmin anymore? Well, there's an upgrade for that, and it's fantastic! You have to fight the Water Wraith first. Chases you throughout the level, you can't kill it till you fight it at the end. Kinda dumb, but I've never actually had any difficulties with it. because I guess I'm a pro gamer. Along with the varieties of new bosses, there's a lot of new enemies added to the game as well. Mainly the Bulborb variety. There's red Bulborb, orange Bulborb, Bulbear, snowy Bulborb, a bunch of different dwarf Bulborbs, fiery Bulborb, Bulbman.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about Bulbman!
Bulbman are basically Pikmin, but has a cheat mode. Can't get hurt by any hazards, and, that's about it. But they're so surprisingly useful, you'd only get Bulbman from finding them underground. And while they can't come with you when you leave a cave, you can use them in Candy Pop Buds, essentially gaining Pikmin out of them. So good, I love them. Oh, they're so precious. Look at them. Look at that cute little face. But yeah, that's a lot of new enemies, a lot of Bulborbs. There's this guy, he shoots rocks. Wow. But at least there's a lobster crab thing.
I'm a lobster crab thing.
And the treasure is an entirely another thing. Tons and tons of product placement. I don't really know why they went this direction, but I kind of like it. I guess the story reason why all these items are here is that this is supposed to be a post-apocalyptic Earth. Yeah, you find that out by reading in between the lines and watching a whole ton of Pikmin conspiracy videos. I wonder what it was. Was it nukes? Global warming? Pandas revolting? I bet it was those fucking pandas, those pieces of shit. Now, while you're underground, you'll need to kill some enemies to get some treasure. That part isn't rocket science. However, where do you put all that stuff? Well, into the hole that's there, including all the dead enemies that are underground. Yeah, you don't gain any Pikmin when you kill them underground. They just go straight to the hole, and they're worth exactly 5 cents. And or lower, sometimes 10 cents. Despite these animals being alien to Olimar in general, and are probably worth a lot of money to the scientific and health community, these animals are pretty much worthless. Why? What do you mean? Yeah, you'll get 1 to 5 coins, depending on the enemy, 10 coins, 15 coins, I don't even know. But honestly, you're not going to really lose any sleep over it if you just decide not to bring them with you. And that's basically it about caves in a nutshell. Despite my whining and ranting, at least it looks more unique than the overworld. Oh wow, look at this. I haven't seen this before. This doesn't look like a carbon copy of anything. I'm not doing the exact same puzzle from the first game. Not at all! At least the challenge mode is pretty different. Kinda. You are splunking again because of course you are, and you have a time limit to collect different treasures, and you're also limited to the Pikmin that the level gives you. Pretty cool, I guess. There's also a 2-player mode. No, you can't play 2 players in the main campaign because Nintendo just hates you. But I guess in a battle format where you fight for treasure? Look, man, I don't know. It doesn't let me play in single player. Look, look, despite me complaining and whining, I don't hate this game. I really don't. There are some great gameplay additions that are fantastic. I love the quality of life changes. I truly do, and I love the new Pikmin varieties and the new ways Pikmin can act and do stuff. It's just cave system, man. I don't like the randomness of it. So many enemies, the tight corners. Yeah, sure. The first game maybe had 1 or 2 areas where there was quite a bit more enemies and it was very, very tight. But at least you were able to move around more instead of being stuck in a randomly generated wall and praying that you don't just get screwed over by some bomb. If these caves were more open and less randomly generated, I'd probably enjoy them more. And apparently there are some caves that are like that aren't randomly generated, which I cannot confirm if that's true or not. But I just don't like stuff falling from the sky, waiting around for treasure to be added to the hull. It's a good attempt at trying to make the game longer, because let's be honest, Pikmin 1 was pretty short if you knew what you're doing. This would have been better if this was more of an arcade-like mode, a side mode, if you will. Focus on the overworld having unique level designs instead of focusing your time on the cave system and making it all randomly generated. This game took 3 years to make, but honestly, it feels like a decent chunk of it was just waiting to get the licensing to use a damn Duracell battery. The game just feels a bit rushed and not well as polished as the first game. Level design-wise, I have to express that. Level design-wise. Because reiterating, the new changes added to the Pikmin gameplay are amazing. The upgrades, faster throwing speed, all great things. I'm not denying that. That is all factually great things. But when you're reusing the same elements from the previous game for your overworld, it certainly gives off the impression of a rushed feeling. But I get it. I know people aren't going to like this section of the video, and I know I'm more negative here, and spoiler alert, this is probably the most negative I'm going to be in this entire video. And, this probably won't come as a surprise, but I really do enjoy Pikmin 3 a lot too. I might have just spoiled that section, but if you haven't already turned off the video already, You know, you probably shouldn't. Please stay. Please, I watch what I made. Please, look, before you go, would you at least like to learn about Pikmin 2 mods? Yeah, you heard me right. Pikmin 2 mods. Like, you know, stuff you see in Minecraft. Oh, I said a buzzword. Can I put it in the description? How it wouldn't be clickbait at all. But yeah, you probably never thought you heard modding and Pikmin in the same sentence. Something I discovered earlier this year was a random video called Pikmin 251. I personally thought it was a type of a meme video, and it kind of was. But the more I looked into it, the more I realized it was an actual mod, you know, for Pikmin 2. And it plays like Pikmin 2, it feels like Pikmin 2. There are some balance changes with the nectar, and then there's orange Pikmin. So that's already a plus. And it's basically just a harder version of Pikmin 2. It even has its own levels. Sure, 2 of those might be the same from the base game, but the other 2 are unique levels. It genuinely feels like a mod that is a love letter to the Pikmin 2 community. And I made my own video about that, so you should probably, you know, check this out before I just reiterate everything I said there. It's 4 minutes. Come on, you're not going to waste any more time. You're watching this feature-length video right here. But, you know, that's not the only type of mod. There's also some mods that involve Pikmin 1. And, you know, I honestly might eventually do a little retrospective for all these little mods themselves. I just find these really interesting. I never knew this was a thing that could happen in this community. But yeah, let's segue right into Pikmin 3. Yeah, I am fantastic at this segue motion. Hoo-ha! A game I really do enjoy. Isn't that just special? Now, I do have the Wii U version, and was planning on playing that on the Wii U since I did it for Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2. But then I remembered Pikmin 3 Deluxe came out, which is a port from the original Pikmin 3 game to the Switch. Because every mainline Wii U game has been either ported onto the Switch or made an entirely new sequel game. Because the Wii U just sold so bad, even Satan doesn't want my Wii U. Now, one of the major problems of not looking at the Wii U version is one tiny little missing feature that is oh so crucial. The Wii Remote Control and Nunchucks. A control scheme that I feel is absolutely flawless for Pikmin. But since, you know, there's no Wii adapter for the Switch, oh, but the GameCube controller has an adapter, that's fine!
That's fair!
I had to deal with the Joy-Cons, and at first, I wasn't aware you could change the settings. Saw my character run while I couldn't control the cursor, said fuck that, was ready to throw it away, and then I realized you can change the setting, thankfully. I would have gone insane. You control it with the gyro controls in the Switch. You know, it's playable. You just have to reset your controller constantly, and, well, what's the story? Well, on the planet Kopai, mass overpopulation and wastefulness has caused the people of Kopai to start running out of food. Luckily, after a drone found a plan with edible food, they sent 3 explorers to collect said food for the survival of their home planet. Those being Alf the mechanic, Brittany the botanist, and Captain Charlie the captain. That's redundant sentencing, yes. Upon arriving to the planet, an accident occurs because, of course, separating the 3. We begin the game as Charlie, who comes across a familiar set of yellow Pikmin. After rounding all the Pikmin up, he is soon ambushed after going into the cave, and I guess he died. Well, that's fun. Then we play as Alf, who I guess is supposed to be the main not character of the game. I don't know. I don't really care who does what. And after finding Pikmin, uses them to get back to the ship before the sundown, only to realize that he needs a cosmic drive key to even begin to get back home. Cosmic drive key allows them to warp through space and time. You know, like light speed action. Ludicrous speed, go! Whatever the line says. You know, I just say a bunch of fucking filler words that's not even funny. You know, I have a script right here, and then I'm like, oh, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I said something else that's not even related? That's me in a nutshell. Oh my god, I get so upset. Why am I like this? I'm still doing it. This is fun. This is funny. Laugh, god damn it, laugh! And after that, the story is pretty simple. You reunite with Brittany and fishing out Charlie out of the crazy animal, and we follow the signals and hope to find the cosmic drive key. Instead, we find Louie, who both does not have the cosmic drive key and is not Olimar, despite the crew thinking he is. And after hijacking their entire food supply, they round him up and go and find Olimar. Final boss swoops him up, you fight the final boss, and then there you go. You got Olimar. The end. You get to go home. He has the cosmic drive key. The end. Unless you're Olimar, because what makes a game not an overpriced $60 port without added content? You get to play as Olimar and Louie, and unlike the original Wii U game, the game tries to explain how Olimar got captured, but actually doesn't. Capitalism is the reason why he's back. The president is in debt once again, so now Olimar and Louie has to clear that debt again. And after they get saved, they go straight back to the planet and retrieve parts from the old rocket ship that got destroyed somehow. And that's basically it. It tries to explore the relationship between Olimar and Louie a bit, but you know, I mean, it's just fine, I guess. It doesn't exactly make the game deluxe by any means with this 3-hour, 4-hour side mission. Well, so what are you doing in this game? What are you collecting this time? You know, instead of ship parts or treasure, unless you're Olimar, of course, it's fruit. And fruit actually plays a major role in this game compared to the last collectible. In this game, there's no longer an infinite amount of days. It has a limit. And I don't exactly know that limit because of the fruit system. You see, the more fruit you collect, the longer you'll be able to stay on the planet because you are converting it into food. When you crash land, you start with 3 days worth of food rations. But the more fruit you collect, the more your deadline extends. And a lot of fruit fills about a jar and a half. Some 2, others 3. Now say you have different types of fruit. Well, you can mix them together. They don't offer any stat changes, but it's nicer to look at. And let me tell you, in the original game, did this lag out the Wii U like no other. The game bored out juice anyways. I guess liquid particles are just super hard to show on screens, or just poor optimization. I don't know. I don't really care. Still looks nice, unless you just see the screen basically filled with piss yellow juice jars. But you know, speaking of piss yellow, did you know yellow Pikmin are in the game? Fantastic! So our red Pikmin, so our blue Pikmin, white and purple Pikmin are in challenge mode, I guess.
But we got 2 new Pikmin! Introducing Rock? What a rock? Rock? Rock isn't a color? What do you mean rock? Okay, whatever. What about the next one? This one is pink. So it is pink, winged. What happened? What happened to the colors? The colors felt so bright. Fuck. Look, what was wrong with the old method? We don't call red Pikmin nose Pikmin. We call them red Pikmin. We don't call yellow Pikmin eared Pikmin. We call them yellow Pikmin. We don't call white Pikmin eye Pikmin. We call them wow. I think I see the problem.
But the new Pikmin are fun to play. The special thing about rock Pikmin is that it's a balanced purple Pikmin, doing extra damage when you throw it on an enemy. Doesn't stun them though, but they can also break crystal glass things, unable to be broken by any other Pikmin. For rock Pikmin, it is generally better to throw your Pikmin instead of having them charge at things. More effective. Also, just rocks kind of hurt more, isn't that right, Goku? Oh, and they also cannot get crushed. So, you know, if you have a little Wollywog and you hate those Wollywogs, you bring some rock Pikmin and all of a sudden that Wollywog, Wally dead. Am I fucking right, lads? Ha ha! Then we have winged Pikmin. I love them to death. So the winged Pikmin, their special thing is that they can fly, because you know, they have wings. So color me shocked when I discovered they are literally the best at carrying anything. They will fly over any obstacle and any water. They are perfect for endgame cleanup and grabbing all the treasure. Look at this. This is a puzzle you're supposed to do. The devs wanted you to do this puzzle, but oh shoot, I have winged Pikmin. And oh, would you look at that? I didn't need to do the puzzle. Fuck this game, I break you in half! To attempt to mitigate the OP-ness of the winged Pikmin, they are super weak. Like, they are not fighters at all. But when you have 70 winged Pikmin rushing onto a single enemy, who is going to win? Not the enemy, like this mini-boss. Oh boy, does it not stand a chance. Fuck your eyeballs, bitch! The rest of the Pikmin remain the same as the previous game. Red Pikmin is fire, yellow jumps and resists electricity, and blue are literal swimmers now. So that's cool, they can swim in water now instead of just sinking to the bottom. They all can carry bomb rocks too. Another change is that I'm running out of oxygen. Another change is that electricity doesn't kill Pikmin, like at all. It just stuns Pikmin now, and they'll just stay like that unless you whistle them. So hey, at least there's a good chance to take a picture of them now. Yeah, that's going on the fridge. But yeah, there is also an ability to take pictures in the game, and it doesn't really add much. It just kind of shows up in the menu select screen.
Woo, a box!
I studied film. Another big change includes the spicy bitterberries. Well, for one thing, bitterberries are just gonzo. I don't even think I even saw it in the challenge mode, but the spicy berries make a return. Instead of having to leave a captain to manually make sure they grab all the berries, you can just delegate 5 Pikmin and they will literally run back to the ship and come back to the plant. Thank Christ. But it doesn't really help that they aren't as useful anymore. In my eyes, anyways. Sure, for random enemies, they're fucked over instantly. And they also instantly flower your Pikmin, and they stay like that. So I guess perhaps that's a much bigger buff than in the second game. So I guess I don't know. No, but what I specifically mean is the bosses. Now, to put a pin on the spicy berry to talk about the bosses actually act like actual bosses now. Yeah, they have their own phases and build-ups and everything. In the second game, the bosses didn't really feel like bosses, just bigger enemies. So the fact that these bosses actually feel like bosses is a nice change of pace. The issue, however, is that since these require phases, the health locks at a certain point, and man, can that be frustrating. Ruins a certain catharsis of it, and the spicy bitter juice, yeah, it speeds it up, but if you're bringing 100 Pikmin to the fight, you really won't need it. But what is funny is when you defeat a boss and they drop the treasure or fruit that they have, when your Pikmin carry the stuff back, they look like little ant trails. Look at all these little winged Pikmin. Yep, just keep putting them in the onion. I may have left 38 behind, but hey, I made more, so it's fine. Yep, that's right, baby. I don't care about my Pikmin anymore! Speaking of the onion, it's like 20 times better now. Normally, it's just dedicated to one Pikmin, but now all the Pikmin colors share the same onion. I understand that this is much better for game design wise, but there's a part of me that misses the old method. You know, I also don't really care. This is factually better. What is also better, and something that I've been neglecting to talk about, is the new captains. You get 3 of them this time, and because 3 is more than 2... What? So you get 3 of them this time, because 3 is more than 2, because Pikmin 3... Oh, I get my joke. I didn't even get my own joke. So unlike the second game where you had to manually control all movements, in this game, by simply going onto the map menu, which the map menu in this game is much better than the first 2, by the way, you can have them go to set location, and they will automatically go there themselves. So what you can do is have one of your captains work on something, and then have your other 2 head off somewhere else without you having to control them. So when you're done with your first captain, you can tell that one to do something else, and go to the captains that have just walked to the other area, and tell them to do something, and then vice versa. Having 3 captains all do their own thing is amazing. It makes the game flow so well without having to sit around and wait all the time. It's great. You leave a captain by the onion, and they will automatically pick the Pikmin up. Oh, it's so good. And when you throw a Pikmin, instead of sometimes grabbing a random color, like the first and second game did, you'll always grab a Pikmin that color is highlighted at the bottom. You also don't need to search for Pikmin anymore. Just click the rocket and they will find their way back home, probably. Make Pikmin charge onto a single enemy and kill it? There is a lock-on command? Oh my god! They also have an upgrade. Don't know about multiple, but a singular one. All it does is let you use the dodge ability. I literally never use it. Like, not even for footage. I honestly just forgot, and I just never used it. I never had an issue, nor have I ever come across a time where I needed to use this. It's useless in my eyes. Just get it away from me. Like the achievements. Yeah, there's achievements in this game. They don't do much, but they certainly look nice, though.
Ah, fuck another spider! I don't know how to segue!
So Olimar's mode is interesting. So basically they're just glorified challenge mode type shenanigans. Sometimes you collect a part, but other times you collect treasure and kill enemies. You know, it's okay. It's a little underwhelming. You know, like I said, there's a challenge mode in Pikmin 3. You have access to all 7 Pikmin types. Purple, white, all the other types I don't really feel like talking about. But you don't really have those in Olimar's mode. I feel like there was a missed opportunity here. But what about the game itself? Well, I really do enjoy it. It looks so good too. Just look at that fucking water. It looks like fucking water! The Pikmin are a lot of fun to use too. I don't really recall a time I've ever been really upset with this game, at least to the same level of Pikmin 2 anyways. These spider assholes, they can be annoying, like, you know, the last 2 games, but I guess they feel like, oh, that's a good mainstay. We have to keep having the cheap spider come down with no signs that it's about to come down. But other than that, it's a really well-made game. It does not feel rushed in the slightest to me. The Switch controls are, you know, they're good enough. Like here's the thing. I'm too used to the Wii Remote controller, but if this has to be the new control scheme from here on out, like using gyro motion controls on like a little controller, then, you know, it's a fine substitute. I'm not going to complain about it, but if I'm playing Pikmin 3, I'm not going to go back to the Deluxe mode. The Olimar mode does not offer enough substantial changes for me to want to play that mode constantly. I'm going to instead go play the Wii U version because of, you know, the aforementioned Wii Remote controller. You know, Deluxe is a nice port. It's neat. I don't think it's really worth the $60, but it's neat. However, if you have a Wii U still, I know it's kind of hard. I mean, they sold like crap. If you have a Wii U still, I think you're better off buying the original Wii U version than the Switch. However, if you have a Switch currently, don't have any access to a Wii U, it's not a bad game. It's $60. That's kind of steep. I personally wouldn't buy it if I already had the version, but it's a good game. It's a good game all around. You know, originally this was $60 base game when it first launched on Wii U. So if you never experienced the game, it's not exactly a bad deal. Because the game is still good. What fucking point am I trying to say here? But I hope
in the future we go forward with the type of game that Pikmin 3 is compared to Pikmin 2. I just prefer the design choices Pikmin 3 had to offer compared to Pikmin 2. I want a Pikmin 4. That's probably still not going to happen for a long while. I mean, we just all watch the same E3. No mention of Pikmin. Pikmin is always going to be my go-to game in general, basically. I know to a lot of people, these are all 3 great games in their own right. I have issues with a certain game, but the baseline code, they're still fine games. They're still great games. Sometimes if I want a quick session, I'll go with 1. But if I want to have fun with Wing Pikmin, I'll go with 3. I don't know why I would be going back to 2, but I've done it before. This is my 3rd playthrough of Pikmin 2, but I don't regret playing or doing this video. I just wanted to make a video to express my love for this franchise. It really shows something that a game where you make a plant life forms, do your bidding, is super engaging for some reason. That's Miyamoto for you, I suppose. I don't know what's going to happen to the Pikmin franchise, but since they're bothering to make a port of Pikmin 3, I feel like good things are on the horizon. And hey, they're making a new app, we can all play Pikmin Go on our phones. Isn't that great? How would that work? I don't know, it all feels like a good sign and something that's going to come eventually. Maybe next year, next E3, maybe Pikmin will have its own direct sooner or later. I won't know, but I'm still optimistic, and I certainly cannot wait to get the next Pikmin game. Oh, fuck! I forgot about Hey Pikmin!